February 17th, 1945. 4:19 in the morning. Hürtgen Forest, Germany. Staff Sergeant Michael Kowalski, 23 years old, from South Philadelphia, crouches behind a frozen log that reeks of cordite and pine sap. His breath crystallizes in air so cold it burns his lungs with every inhalation. In his hands rests a weapon that should not exist. 2 barrels, stacked vertically where one Thompson submachine gun barrel should be. The weight pulls at his shoulders. 18 pounds, double what he carried 3 days ago. He received this weapon 72 hours ago. February 14th. An ordnance corporal from 7th Army Ordnance Battalion drove 200 miles from Liège just to hand it to him personally. Grinned like he was delivering Christmas, said things like, "Don't let go of this thing or it'll climb to heaven," and "built by a machinist who never fired a shot in combat, but might have saved more lives than any soldier in this forest." Mickey Test fired it once, 40 rounds into a dirt berm, while the corporal watched and made notes. The recoil was brutal, muzzle rise insane, but the target's 3 man-sized logs at 25 yards had been sawed in half. The corporal's final words before leaving: "You're the longest surviving Thompson gunner in your battalion. That's why you got this. Every other gunner who carried a Thompson in your company is dead. Magazine change killed them. This weapon eliminates that problem. Use it well." Mickey thinks about those words now. Every other gunner dead. He knows their names, carries their dog tags. Total cost in dollars for this weapon 0. Built from salvaged parts. 2 destroyed Thompsons. Aircraft aluminum scraped from a crashed B-17. German spring steel pulled from captured equipment. Copper wire stripped from shattered radios. Time required for a master machinist to hand-build it, 16 hours of precision work. Military procurement cost for equivalent weapon. It never existed in any procurement manual because no military procurement office would have approved something this insane. Through the trees ahead, Mickey hears the sound that's haunted his dreams for 4 months. Tank tracks clanking, guttural shouts in German, the distinctive mechanical rattle of MP-40 submachine guns being charged. They're forming up, preparing to attack, trying to retake this miserable slice of frozen earth before dawn breaks completely. Mickey checks both magazines. 30 rounds in the top, 30 in the bottom. Both bolts are chambered, both firing pins ready. His hands shake. Not from the cold, though the thermometer behind battalion command reads 12 degrees Fahrenheit. Not from fear, though he's terrified in the quiet, rational way that keeps soldiers alive. His hands shake because of what lives in his left breast pocket. 9 dog tags. Stainless steel rectangles stamped with names and service numbers and blood types that no longer matter because the men who wore them are 3 feet under German soil. Danny Walsh, Boston Irish kid with a laugh that could wake the dead. Thompson gunner. Killed November 18th during magazine change. Frank Morrison, Detroit assembly line worker who could strip and rebuild any weapon blindfolded. Thompson gunner. Killed November 23rd during magazine change. Carlos Mendez, El Paso ranch hand who wrote poetry when he thought nobody was watching. Thompson gunner. Killed December 2nd during magazine change. James Chen, San Francisco engineering student with a chess master's mind. Thompson gunner. Killed December 8th during magazine change. Robert Williams, Atlanta jazz drummer who tapped rhythms on his helmet during artillery barrages. Thompson gunner. Killed December 15th during magazine change. Anthony Russo, Brooklyn butcher's apprentice who taught Mickey how to sharpen a trench knife properly. Thompson gunner. Killed December 22nd during magazine change. William Drake, Philadelphia dock worker from Mickey's own neighborhood 3 streets over from the butcher shop. Thompson gunner. Killed January the 4th during magazine change. Thomas O'Brien, Chicago firefighter who ran toward danger his whole life. Thompson gunner. killed January 11th during magazine change. Harold Price, Oklahoma farm boy with hands like leather and eyes that never stopped scanning. Thompson gunner, killed January 28th during magazine change. 9 men, all dead the same way. Magazine runs empty. Takes 2.6 seconds to burn through 30 rounds of .45 caliber ammunition when you're firing full automatic. Then comes the reload. Drop the spent magazine. Reach for a fresh one from the canvas pouch on your web belt. Insert it into the magazine well. Pull the charging handle. Chamber around. 4.5 seconds. In those 4.5 seconds, German MG-42 machine gun crews could deliver 90 rounds at 1,200 rounds per minute. German riflemen could fire aim fire again. German grenade throwers could calculate trajectory and release. In those 4.5 seconds, 9 Thompson gunners in Mickey's company stopped being soldiers and became targets. The weapon in Mickey's hands eliminates those 4.5 seconds, because when the top barrel's magazine runs empty, the bottom barrel keeps firing. And while the bottom barrel fires, Mickey's left hand can drop the empty top magazine, grab a fresh one, slam it home, and never stop pulling the trigger. Not for 1 millisecond, not for 1 heartbeat. Continuous fire. 8.6 seconds of sustained automatic fire without pause or vulnerability, or that terrible window of defenselessness that killed 9 of his friends. The ordnance corporal called it T-48, experimental designation. Official name M1A1 submachine gun, dual configuration, modified. The machinist who built it called it the Twin Thompson. The Germans who've encountered it in the 3 days since deployment call it something else. Doppeltod, double death. Through the trees 60 yards out, grey shapes materialize from pre-dawn mist. Waffen-SS, worse than regular Wehrmacht. Younger, harder, more willing to die for a cause already lost. Mickey counts them. 20, 30, 40 maybe. Moving fast through the pines. MP40s chattering. Trying to close distance before American rifles can find range in the darkness. The GI-2 foxholes to Mickey's left. Private Eddie Miller from Chicago fires his M1 Garand. 8 shots in rapid succession, the distinctive metallic ping of an empty en-bloc clip ejecting. Miller ducks down to reload. The Germans are at 50 yards now, 45 yards. Mickey can see their faces now, young faces, hard faces. Faces that belong to men who've killed before and will kill again if given the chance. One of them spots Mickey's position, spots the unusual silhouette of the twin barrels, shouts something in German, brings his MP40 around. Mickey stands up, shoulders the twin Thompson against his right side, plants his left boot forward, leans his entire body weight into the weapon because the ordnance corporal's final instruction was, use your whole body or it uses you. Aims at the center mass of the German formation, that cluster of grey uniforms and coal scuttle helmets and weapons that want to kill him and Miller and every American in this frozen forest. He thinks of Danny Walsh. The last thing Danny said before that final patrol was, "See you at Chow Mickey." Mickey squeezes the trigger. The weapon explodes to life. Not the controlled burp of a standard Thompson that Mickey knows like his own heartbeat. This is something else entirely. A sustained roar. A physical force that hammers into Mickey's shoulder like a mule kick that never stops kicking. The stock vibrates so hard his teeth rattle. The muzzle tries to climb skyward, but Mickey's got his whole body behind it, leaning, pushing, forcing it level. The sound is deeper than a Thompson's familiar chatter. 2 barrels firing in rapid alternation create an overlapping wave of noise that fills the forest and drowns out even the German MP40s. Tracers, every 5th round from each barrel glowing phosphorescent orange in the pre-dawn darkness, create 2 streams of fire. twin ladders of light reaching from Mickey's position into the German formation like luminous fingers of death. The effect is immediate and catastrophic. The first German takes 3 rounds center mass in the span of time it takes to blink. 230 grain 45 caliber bullets traveling at 900 feet per second. The kinetic energy doesn't just knock him down, it switches him off like a light. He drops straight down as if the bones in his legs simply cease to exist. The man behind him catches 4 rounds before his nervous system can even process that the soldier in front has fallen. Chest, shoulder, throat, head. He spins halfway around from the impact and collapses into the snow that's been falling on and off for 6 days. Mickey's training takes over. Training from a Philadelphia Police Department instructor back at Camp Shelby who'd survived the last war and knew what worked. Short sweeps, left to right, 4-second bursts. Don't try to aim at individuals in the dark. Aim at the space they occupy. Let volume of fire do the work. The top magazine empties first. 30 rounds in 3.8 seconds. Mickey feels it go light in his left hand, but his trigger finger never releases pressure. The bottom barrel keeps firing, keeps that unbroken stream of 45 caliber rounds pouring into the German formation. Mickey's left hand, operating on muscle memory and instinct and the desperate need to not die, drops the empty magazine. Grabs a fresh one from his pouch, slams it home into the top magazine well, chambers around with the heel of his palm. Never stops firing, not for 1 second, not for 1 breath. The Germans are trying to process what they're facing. This isn't suppressive fire. This isn't a soldier firing bursts and ducking and conserving ammunition. This is continuous, unrelenting, overwhelming firepower from what appears to be a single position. The volume suggests a crew-served weapon, a 30 caliber machine gun with a 3-man team. But machine guns don't sound like this. Machine guns don't create that double stream of tracers. They try to return fire. MP40s chatter, but panic ruins marksmanship. Rounds snap through branches above Mickey's head, slap into the frozen earth 3 feet to his right. Nowhere close, because when men are dying around you and you can't identify the source of fire and the forest is exploding with muzzle flash and tracer rounds, accuracy becomes impossible. Mickey's fire is directed, controlled by training and desperation and the accumulated fury of watching 9 friends die because their weapons failed them at critical moments. He walks the stream of fire through the German formation like a man hosing down his father's butcher shop floor back on Tasker Street in South Philadelphia. Methodical, complete, missing nothing. A German tries to dive behind a tree, takes 5 rounds before he's halfway to cover. Another attempts to low crawl backward. 6 rounds walk up his legs and spine. A third freezes completely, a fatal mistake that combat veterans never make because motion creates confusion, but stillness creates targets. 8 rounds. Mickey empties the second magazine. 30 rounds in 3.8 seconds. Drops it. His hand moves automatically to reload, but the training takes over. Assess. Before you reload, assess. Are they broken? Are they running? Do you need to shoot, or do you need to displace? The chronological time elapsed since Mickey pulled the trigger is 4 minutes and 17 seconds. It feels like hours. It feels like microseconds. Time does strange things when adrenaline turns blood into jet fuel and every sense sharpens to supernatural acuity. 40 yards out, visible now in the growing dawn light, 7 German soldiers lie motionless. Steam rises from their wounds in the frozen air. That's what happens when 98.6-degree blood meets 12-degree air. It steams, like breath, like life leaving. 4 more are wounded, dragging themselves backward toward the trees, leaving dark trails in the snow. The metallic smell of blood carries on the cold wind. The rest have melted back into the forest, broken, scattered. The attack that should have overrun this position in 5 minutes of hard fighting has disintegrated in less than 5 minutes of one-sided slaughter. Mickey stops firing, lowers the twin Thompson. His ears ring so severely he can't hear Private Miller shouting something from the next foxhole. The whole world is wrapped in cotton, muffled, distant. His shoulder feels like he caught a Louisville slugger to the bone. Both hands vibrate with a tremor he can't control. The barrels of the weapon are smoking. Heat shimmer makes the air above them waver like summer blacktop. He's burned through 90 rounds, 3 full magazines, 30 seconds of trigger time spread across 4 minutes of engagement. Private Miller is staring at him, then at the twin Thompson, then back at Mickey, then at the killing ground 40 yards distant where 7 men who were alive 3 minutes ago are now corpses cooling in German snow. Miller's mouth moves. Sound gradually filters back into Mickey's ringing ears. "What in the holy hell is that thing?" Mickey looks at the weapon, at the dual barrels still radiating heat, at the aircraft aluminum frame that shouldn't hold together under this kind of sustained fire but does, at the linking mechanism that fires both weapons in perfect alternation. How do you explain this, a weapon that shouldn't exist, built by a man Mickey's never met, to solve a problem that killed 9 of Mickey's friends? Mickey doesn't answer immediately. He's reloading both magazines, hands shaking so badly the first magazine takes 3 attempts to seat properly, because through the ringing in his ears and the hammering of his pulse and the cotton wool sensation of an adrenaline crash starting to hit, Mickey hears something that stops his breath. More shouting in German. Farther back, maybe 200 yards. Officers barking orders, the mechanical sound of equipment being moved. They're not retreating, not. They're regrouping, bringing up heavier weapons. Germans don't break easily, especially SS. They'll come again. And now Mickey knows exactly what this weapon can do. He knows it can kill 7 men in seconds. He knows it can break an attack by 40 trained soldiers. He knows the psychological impact of continuous fire creates the impression of overwhelming force. He also knows something else, something that will haunt him for the next 56 years. He knows killing just became very, very easy. Miller asks again. "Kowalski, what is that weapon?" Mickey finishes reloading, checks both magazines, both bolts, both firing pins. Ordnance called it T-48, experimental, built by machinist named Watkins. 7th Army Ordnance Battalion, Liège, never been in combat, built it in a workshop 200 miles behind the lines. Miller crawls over to Mickey's foxhole, risks the exposure because he needs to see this up close, studies the dual barrels, the linking mechanism, the aircraft aluminum frame that holds 2 complete Thompson firing systems in vertical alignment. Who is this Watkins? How do you even think of this? Mickey remembers what the ordnance corporal told him, the story behind the weapon. Corporal said Watkins read casualty reports, saw Thompson gunners dying during magazine changes, couldn't live with it, built this to fix the problem. In a workshop, this looks like something that'd take months to engineer. Took him 13 days, December 15th to December 28th. 4 prototypes. First one exploded during testing, nearly killed him. Second one worked but weighed 32 pounds. Nobody could carry it. Third one fired both barrels at the same time, uncontrollable. Fourth one, this one, he figured out the timing. Miller runs his hand along the barrels, still hot enough to register through his wool glove. What timing? Both barrels fire in alternation, 0.043 seconds between shots. That delay, that's what makes it controllable. Watkins learned it from building typewriter components before the war. At Colts, same principle. Sequential strikes, applied to submachine guns. Miller lets that sink in. A typewriter. Yeah, and it works. Mickey looks at the killing ground. 7 dead. It works. From the trees, 200 yards out, Mickey hears the sound he's been dreading. The mechanical clanking of tracked vehicles, light armor, probably Stu-G3 assault guns. The Germans have decided that infantry assault alone won't work. They're bringing up the heavy equipment. Miller looks at him. Think it'll stop armor? 45 caliber won't penetrate steel plate, but it'll stop the infantry following behind the armor. That enough? Mickey thinks about Danny Walsh, about 9 sets of dog tags, about a weapon built by a man who refused to accept that inadequate equipment meant inevitable death. It'll have to be. The German assault gun emerges from the trees, infantry behind it, 40 men, maybe 50, all of them about to discover what Doppeltod means. Mickey pulls the trigger, and the forest explodes with sound. The assault gun's hull machine gun rakes Mickey's position with methodical precision. Tracer rounds draw orange lines through the dawn air. Tree bark explodes in showers of splinters. Frozen earth erupts where 7.92mm rounds impact at 2,600 feet per second. Mickey hugs the bottom of his foxhole. The twin Thompson clutched against his chest. He counts seconds between machine gun bursts. 3 seconds of fire. 2 seconds pause. 3 seconds of fire. The rhythm is predictable, professional. The assault gun advances. 30 yards. Close enough that Mickey can hear the transmission grinding. Behind the armor, German infantry move in practiced formation, using the vehicle for cover. These are veterans from the Eastern Front. The assault gun is 20 yards away when its machine gun pauses. Barrel change or reload. 3-second window. Mickey erupts from his foxhole, standing completely upright, exposing himself to every German rifle within 200 yards. The kind of move that gets soldiers killed in training films. Shoulders the twin Thompson, both magazines loaded, both barrels ready. Aims not at the assault gun, but at the infantry behind it. Pulls trigger. The weapon roars to life with that same devastating continuous fire. But this time Mickey knows exactly what he's doing. No hesitation. Pure application of a tool designed for one purpose. The infantry behind the assault gun are packed close, trained to use the vehicle as mobile cover. That training becomes a death trap in 4 seconds. Mickey walks the fire from left to right. 45 caliber rounds tear through the men behind the armor. The first soldier takes 6 rounds. The second tries to dive, takes 4 rounds mid-dive. The third gets behind cover, a thick pine tree, but Mickey's sustained fire chews through 8 inches of pine at waist height. Still enough kinetic energy to kill. Top magazine empties. Bottom keeps firing. Mickey's left hand drops the spent mag, grabs fresh one, slams home, never releases trigger pressure. The German assault gun commander realizes his infantry screen just evaporated. His vehicle is now isolated and vulnerable. Does the only rational thing. Reverses. Fast. The transmission screams as the driver throws it into reverse and gives it full throttle. The remaining German infantry see their armor support retreating, see their comrades cut down, break and run. Not a fighting withdrawal, a rout, men throwing down weapons, sprinting back into the trees because staying means dying. Mickey stops firing, counts bodies. 11 Germans visible, steam rising from wounds, more wounded dragging themselves away. The assault gun has disappeared, engine noise fading. Total time elapsed 6 minutes. Mickey's ammunition count 120 rounds expended, 4 magazines, 20 seconds of actual trigger time. His hands shake worse than before. The adrenaline crash hits hard. His legs feel weak. His shoulder is one massive bruise, but he's alive. Miller's alive. The German assault is broken. Private Miller climbs out of his foxhole, stares at Mickey, at the weapon, at the killing ground. You just broke an armor-supported assault, by yourself, with a submachine gun. Mickey doesn't respond. He's reloading. Because Germans have been known to play dead. Because you stay ready or you die stupid. Miller persists. That's not possible. Infantry doesn't stop armor. Didn't stop the armor. Stopped the infantry. Armor without infantry support is a target. Mickey sees very clearly what he just did. 11 more men dead. Fast, efficient, mechanical, point weapon, pull trigger, sweep, bodies fall. The ease of it troubles him. Before Miller can say more, Captain Frank Morrison arrives at a dead run. Morrison is 38, Chicago lawyer in civilian life. Company commander who's kept more men alive than he's lost. Morrison slides into Mickey's foxhole, breathing hard, scans the killing ground, does a quick count of bodies, looks at Mickey, at the twin Thompson, back at the bodies. Sergeant Kowalski, report. Mickey gives it straight. 2 German assaults. First wave, 40 to 50 Waffen-SS infantry. Broken in 4 minutes. 7 confirmed dead. Multiple wounded. Second wave armor supported 30 to 40 infantry. Broken in 6 minutes. 11 confirmed dead. 1 Stoogie 3 retreated. 0 friendly casualties. Morrison processes this. He's seen enough combat to know when he's hearing truth that sounds like bullshit. You broke 2 assault waves, alone, with that weapon. Yes, sir. Casualties on our side. 0 killed, 3 wounded from first assault, none from second. Morrison does the math. What's the casualty ratio? Mickey has already done the calculation. Numbers have always come easy to him. Butcher's son learning to calculate yield and waste. Enemy force estimated at 75 to 90 total. 18 confirmed dead. Estimated 20 to 30 wounded. That's roughly 55% casualties. Our side 3 wounded out of 31 engaged. 9.7%. Morrison stares. 55 to 9% casualty ratio. In defensive engagement against numerically superior force with armor support. Yes, sir. Morrison reaches for the twin Thompson. Mickey hands it over. The captain examines it with careful attention. Studies the dual barrels, the trigger linkage, the aircraft aluminum frame, the magazine wells positioned top and bottom. How does it work? Mickey explains. 2 independent Thompson firing systems. Linked trigger mechanism fires both weapons in rapid alternation. 0.043 second delay between barrel firings. 1,400 rounds per minute combined rate. Can reload one magazine while firing from the other. 8.6 seconds continuous fire. Morrison's eyes narrow. You can fire continuously for 8.6 seconds. Longer if I'm fast on the reload. Standard Thompson has 4.5 second vulnerability window during magazine changes. This eliminates that window entirely. Yes, sir. That's the design purpose. Where did you get this weapon? Ordnance Corporal delivered it February 14th. Said it was experimental, built by machinist named Watkins, 7th Army Ordnance Battalion, Liège. Morrison knows military bureaucracy. Knows experimental weapons don't just appear in frontline units without mountains of paperwork. This was authorized. Corporal didn't say, sir, just said I was longest surviving Thompson gunner in battalion and was only one qualified to field test it. Morrison hands the weapon back. Makes a decision. Kowalski, I'm pulling you from line duty. You're too valuable with that weapon to risk in standard engagements. I'm assigning you to weapon evaluation and training. You'll demonstrate employment techniques, train other operators, develop tactical doctrine. Sir, my squad needs me. Your squad needs you alive. Every other Thompson gunner in this company needs to learn what you just did. Battalion needs to request more of these weapons. Division needs to understand we've got something that changes the tactical equation. Mickey wants to argue, but orders are orders. Yes, sir. Morrison claps him on the shoulder. The bruised one. Mickey tries not to wince. You just demonstrated that American innovation can overcome numerical superiority and armor support. That matters. Morrison leaves. Miller remains. So you're getting pulled from the line. Apparently. Mickey stares at the bodies again. 18 confirmed dead between both assaults. Maybe 25 total. 2 engagements. 40 minutes. 3 minutes of actual trigger time. 25 men. Some of them probably had families. Wives. Children. Mothers who would receive telegrams with phrases like, "killed in action," and all the bureaucratic language that tries to make death sound noble. Miller seems to read his thoughts. You okay? I'm fine. You don't look fine. Mickey considers lying, considers keeping the dark thoughts locked away where they belong. Instead, he tells the truth. That weapon makes killing very easy. That's good, isn't it? Maybe too easy. I pointed it, pulled trigger, swept across targets. 25 men dead. I didn't think about each one, didn't make individual decisions, just held trigger and they died. Miller is quiet for a long moment. You think the Germans think that much when they're killing us? Probably not. Maybe that's the problem. What problem? If killing becomes mechanical, automatic, just point and shoot and bodies fall, where's the part where we're still human? Where's the thinking, the choosing? Miller has no answer. Neither does Mickey. It's a question that will follow him for decades. 200 miles away in Liège, Belgium. Technical Sergeant Raymond Watkins, 31 years old, master machinist, sits at his desk reviewing morning situation reports. His team has now built 43 twin Thompsons, distributed to 7 divisions, each one hand-delivered with training. The reports are flooding in. 28th Infantry Division, T-48 unit employed in defensive engagement. 18 enemy casualties, 0 friendly casualties. Weapon performed flawlessly. 9th Infantry Division, T-48 unit employed in urban combat. 23 enemy casualties, 0 friendly casualties. Request immediate additional allocation. 78th Infantry Division, T-48 unit employed in forest engagement. 31 enemy casualties. 1 friendly wounded. Weapon functioned as designed. Watkins should feel pride. His weapon works. His innovation is saving American lives. The problem he identified, magazine change vulnerability, has been solved, but one report stops him cold. 1st Infantry Division, T-48 unit employed during patrol engagement. 12 enemy casualties, including 4 determined post-action to be aged approximately 16 to 18 years. Operator reports psychological distress, requests transfer from Thompson gunner position. Watkins reads it 3 times. 4 teenage Germans, killed so fast the operator didn't identify their ages until after, killed in a burst of fire that lasted seconds. No time to think, no time to assess, just point. Shoot. They die. This is the cost of efficiency, the price of innovation. Watkins built a weapon that saves American lives by making killing so easy that moral decision-making gets removed from the equation. Corporal James Murphy finds Watkins at 200 hours, 100. Still at desk, still staring at report. Ray, you haven't slept in 36 hours. I built a weapon that killed 4 children. Murphy reads the report over Watkins's shoulder. They were German soldiers, armed combatants. They were 16, maybe 18, teenagers. This is war. Teenagers fight in war. I made killing them easy. Too easy. That operator, he didn't have time to see they were kids. Just saw targets. Fired. They died. My weapon did that. Murphy sits down. He's 28. Boston shipyard worker, practical man who deals in physical realities, not moral abstractions. But he knows his friend is genuinely struggling. Ray, your weapon has saved maybe 200 American lives so far. 200 of our guys who would be dead are alive because you built something that works. You going to throw that away because war is ugly? I'm saying maybe I made war too efficient. Maybe some friction, some difficulty, some hesitation is necessary. Keeps us human. You want American soldiers to die so they can feel more human about the killing they do. That's backwards. Watkins doesn't have a good answer, because Murphy is right on a logical level. Weapon works, saves American lives, accomplishes mission. But Watkins thinks about those 4 teenagers, wonders if they were drafted or volunteered, wonders if their mothers knew they were dead yet, wonders if his hands that built the weapon that killed them bear responsibility. Murphy leaves. Watkins sits alone. At 04:30 hours, he begins writing a letter to his wife Ellen back in Hartford, Connecticut. Tells her about the weapon, about the success, about the lives saved, about the 4 teenagers, about the weight of creation when creation is designed to destroy. He doesn't mail the letter, keeps it in his desk drawer. Ellen doesn't need to know the cost of what he's doing, but Watkins knows he's changed the equation of combat, knows every weapon he's built will kill efficiently and without hesitation, knows that efficiency is both victory and tragedy. Outside, dawn breaks over Liège. Another day of production, another day of building weapons that save American lives by taking German ones, another day of calculating whether the mathematics of war adds up to something he can live with. The twin Thompson is working exactly as designed, and that troubles Raymond Watkins more than he can articulate to anyone who hasn't built a weapon that makes killing devastatingly efficient. Watkins thinks back to how this started. December 15th, 1944. The day everything changed. He'd been reviewing casualty reports, standard procedure, track weapon failures, identify equipment problems, recommend fixes. One name caught his attention: PFC William Drake, 28th Infantry Division, Thompson Gunner, KIA, December 4th during magazine change. Watkins cross-referenced Drake's serial number with production records. The weapon Drake carried, the Thompson that failed him at the critical moment, Watkins had personally tooled its receiver 2 years ago at Colt's Hartford factory. His hands, his lathe, his work. That weapon got Drake killed. Watkins couldn't sleep that night. Lay awake thinking about Drake, about the 4.5-second vulnerability window, about 9 Thompson gunners killed in one company alone. At 0200 hours the idea arrived. Simple, almost too simple. If one Thompson fires 700 rounds per minute, what if you physically attach 2 Thompsons together, independent firing systems, linked trigger, fire one while reloading the other? Eliminate the vulnerability window entirely. Watkins spent the rest of the night sketching designs, calculating recoil forces, estimating weight. By dawn, he had a concept that might work, or might kill whoever tried to fire it. December 17th. Watkins recruited 3 ordnance specialists he trusted: Corporal James Murphy Welder, Private First Class Antonio Russo Machinist, Sergeant First Class Harold Chen Electrical Engineer. He didn't tell them it was unauthorized, just said, "Emergency project. Command needs this yesterday." They worked night shifts in an isolated workshop, used damaged equipment repair as cover. No paperwork, no requisitions, nothing that created paper trails. Because Watkins knew. This bypassed every regulation. Field modifications required approvals, testing, months of bureaucracy. Men were dying now. December 19th. Prototype 1. Simple side-by-side mount. Steel frame. Test fire. The frame exploded. Recoil sheared the mounting bolts. Shrapnel hit Watkins's left hand. 3 stitches. Permanent scars. Murphy said, "Ray, maybe this is God saying stop." Watkins, bandaging hand. God's not killing soldiers in Hurtgen. Men are. We fix it. December 22nd. Prototype 2. Vertical stack. Reinforced steel frame. Test fire. It worked. No explosion, but weighed 32 pounds loaded. Murphy lifted it. Nobody can carry this into combat. Back to drawing board. December 26th. Prototype 3. Vertical stack aircraft aluminum salvaged from crashed B-17. Weight dropped to 17.8 pounds. But new problem. Both barrels fired simultaneously. Uncontrollable recoil. Weapon climbed to vertical in 0.4 seconds. Watkins sat staring at weapon. 0200 hours. Exhausted. Then remembered. Typewriter mechanisms at Colts. Before WW2, Colts manufactured Remington typewriter components. Watkins had machined the sequential key strikers, mechanisms that made each key strike paper in rapid succession without jamming. Same principle. Sequential firing, alternation, timing. Chen designed CAM mechanism using knowledge from Boeing aircraft timing systems. Created 0.043 second delay between barrel firings. December 28th. Final prototype test. Barrel 1 fires, 0.043 seconds. Barrel 2 fires, 0.043 seconds. Barrel 1 fires, alternating, rapid, controlled. 1,400 rounds per minute combined rate, but each barrel only 700 rounds per minute. Standard Thompson rate, recoil distributed, heat distributed, wear distributed. Murphy fired 60-round test, both magazines. Weapon stayed on target. No climbing, no jamming. Silence. Chen said, "It works. It actually works." Russo said, "Ray, you just out-engineered the entire US Army." Watkins said quietly, "No, I just applied tools and knowledge we already had. This is simple. 2 existing weapons, 1 linking mechanism. Common sense." Murphy said, "Common sense that violates every regulation." Watkins said, "Then we're about to find out if saving lives outweighs following rules." January 3rd, 1945. Watkins requested urgent meeting with Colonel Daniel Hartman, 5th Corps Ordnance Commanding Officer. Hartman arrived skeptical. Saw twin barrel weapon. "Sergeant, please tell me this is authorized." Watkins said, "Sir, I'd rather demonstrate first and apologize later." The test. 20 wooden targets, man-sized, 25 yards. Watkins loaded both 30-round magazines, selector to automatic, braced weapon, pulled trigger. The sound wasn't familiar. Thompson burp, deeper, sustained, continuous roar. All 20 targets disintegrated. 4.2 seconds. Silence. Hartman said, "Again, reload 1 magazine while firing the other." Watkins demonstrated continuous fire technique. Emptied top magazine. Kept firing from bottom while reloading top. Continued seamlessly. Total sustained fire, 8.6 seconds. Hartman picked up the weapon. Examined it. "This bypasses every procurement regulation. I could have you court-martialed just for building it." Long pause. "How many can you make per day?" "With my team working 3 shifts, maybe 3 units." "I'm authorizing production of 50 units. If this works, you're a genius. If it doesn't, we're both facing court-martial." Official designation, M1A1 submachine gun, dual configuration modified. Documentation, T48, experimental. Hartman's condition. Every unit hand delivered to frontline troops with training. No weapon leaves here unless someone from your team ensures the operator knows what he's doing. Production began. January 4th. Watkins's team expanded to 12 machinists working 16-hour shifts. Each twin Thompson required. 16 hours skilled fabrication. 2 M1A1 receivers from damaged weapons. Aircraft aluminum frame from salvaged planes. Custom trigger linkage, hand-fitted, each unique. Captured German spring steel for linking pins. Watkins test fired every single unit. 3 failed catastrophically during testing. Frames cracked. Linkages broke. He scrapped them. Murphy said, "Ray, we're behind schedule." Watkins said, "Better behind schedule than sending defective weapons to men who trust them." By February 12th, 43 twin Thompsons completed. Distributed according to tactical necessity. Priority to units engaged in close-quarters combat. Each weapon delivered by ordnance specialists who provided 30-minute instruction. Every recipient longest surviving Thompson gunner in their unit. Men like Mickey Kowalski. And now, 5 days after deployment, the reports flood in. Weapon works. Casualty ratios shift dramatically. American lives saved. But at what cost? Watkins stares at the report about 4 teenagers. Thinks about William Drake, whose receiver Watkins tooled 2 years ago. Thinks about the 300 American lives saved versus the 400 German lives taken. The mathematics work, but mathematics don't account for the weight efficiency places on human souls. March 24th, 1945. 05:45 hours. Rhine River, Germany. Mickey Kowalski stands in an assault boat with 11 other soldiers. The twin Thompson feels heavier than it did in the Hurtgen forest. Maybe because he knows what it can do now. Maybe because he's seen what it costs. The Rhine is 300 yards wide here, 300 yards of open water where German machine guns on the far shore have clear fields of fire, where entire platoons have been wiped out in previous attempts. Battalion estimates 40% casualties for first wave assault. The boat's coxswain, a Navy kid who can't be older than 19, guns the outboard motor. 12 boats launch simultaneously. 144 men crossing into machine gun fire. German mortars open up before they're 50 yards from shore. Waterspouts erupt. The boat to Mickey's left takes a direct hit, disintegrates. 12 men gone in 1 second. 100 yards out. German MG-42s open fire. 1,200 rounds per minute. Ripping canvas. Rounds snap past Mickey's head, punch through aluminum boat sides. Water seeps in. The soldier next to Mickey, a replacement whose name Mickey never learned, takes a round through the throat. Arterial spray. Dead in 15 seconds. Mickey catches him instinctively, lowers him to the boat bottom where water is now ankle deep, 75 yards. Mickey stands up. The most insane thing a soldier can do in an assault boat taking fire. But Mickey needs height to see machine gun positions. Shoulders the twin Thompson. Both magazines loaded, both barrels ready. There. German bunker. Left shore. 70 yards. Muzzle flash visible through firing slit. Mickey aims, leads target, accounts for boat movement, pulls trigger. The twin Thompson roars over outboard motors and screaming and machine gun fire. 1,400 rounds per minute pouring toward that bunker. At 70 yards, the .45 caliber rounds spread wide. Mickey's trying for volume, not precision, trying to suppress that gun long enough for boats to close distance. Top magazine empties. Bottom keeps firing. Mickey reloads top with left hand. Never stops trigger pressure. 8.6 seconds of continuous fire walking across bunker position. Concrete chips. Tracers ricochet. The MG-42 goes silent. 50 yards. Second machine gun position opens up from the right. Different angle. Been waiting. Smart German gunner. Mickey pivots. Payne shoots through bruised shoulder. Aims right. Pulls trigger. Same technique. Volume over precision. 1,400 rounds per minute creating wall of lead between boats and that machine gun. The German gunner keeps firing. Professional. Disciplined. This man knows his weapon. Knows American boats are committed now. Nowhere to go but forward or sink. Mickey empties both magazines. 90 rounds downrange in 6 seconds. Reloads both. Fires again. Barrels glow red. Heat shimmer makes air waver. The German MG-42 position finally goes quiet. Whether Mickey killed the gunner or just suppressed him doesn't matter. The gun's not firing. 25 yards from shore. The boat's bottom is shredded. Water up to Mickey's calves. They're sinking. The coxswain guns the motor. Full throttle. Racing the water. 15 yards. The boat scrapes bottom. Grinds against riverbed gravel. Stops 3 yards from shore. Close enough. Out, out, out. Mickey's shouting, though his ears ring so badly he can't hear his own voice. The surviving soldiers, 7 out of 12, pile out. Chest-deep water, freezing, struggling toward shore. Mickey's the last out, maintains suppressive fire while his squad reaches beach, empties both magazines, climbs out. Water soaks through uniform. Cold shocks his system. He pushes through, reaches sand, collapses behind destroyed German bunker. Looks back at river. 5 boats made it across. 7 sank or were destroyed. 60 men, maybe 70, out of 144. Better than expected. Still horrific. Miller appears beside him. Somehow survived. Water streaming from uniform. Face pale. We made it. Some of us. Captain Morrison rallies survivors. 73 men. They were supposed to establish beachhead and hold until reinforcements arrived. 73 men against however many Germans are in defensive positions beyond beach. Morrison finds Mickey. Kowalski, how much ammunition left? Mickey checks. 4 magazines, 120 rounds. Make them count. We are holding this beach until 2nd Battalion crosses. Estimated 30 minutes. 30 minutes. Lifetime in combat. The Germans counterattack at 06:12 hours. 27 minutes of relative quiet. Then they come. Not a probe. Full assault. 50 or 60 infantry. Trying to push Americans back into river before reinforcements arrive. Mickey finds position behind rubble. Good sight lines. 60 yards of open ground between his position and German assault line. Perfect range for twin Thompson. Waits until they're at 50 yards. Then stands. Shoulders weapon. Pulls trigger. 1,400 rounds per minute. The Germans have never seen this weapon, never heard about Doppeltod. They're about to learn. Continuous fire tears through their formation. Men fall. Not 1 or 2. Whole sections. Psychological impact of unbroken automatic fire is devastating. They think they're facing machine gun nest, think they're outnumbered. Break and retreat after 90 seconds. Mickey's burned through 3 magazines, 90 rounds, has 30 left. 1 magazine. Morrison appears. They'll come again, heavier. They know our strength now. How long until reinforcements? 8 minutes. 8 minutes. 1 magazine, 30 rounds. The second German assault comes at 06:19 hours. More infantry, maybe 80 men. And this time they've brought an MG-42, setting up on high ground, trying to suppress American position while infantry advances. Mickey has a choice. Suppress the machine gun and let infantry advance, or stop infantry and let machine gun tear through American positions. He chooses the machine gun, stands, fully exposed, twin Thompson up and ready, aims at that MG-42 position, 100 yards out, at weapon's maximum effective range, pulls trigger, empties his last magazine in 1 sustained burst, 30 rounds in 3.8 seconds, walking fire across that position. At 100 yards, the 45 caliber rounds are losing energy. Not much penetration, but volume creates effect. The MG-42 stops firing, crew dead or suppressed. Mickey drops behind cover. Twin Thompson's empty. Both magazines spent. He draws his M1911 pistol. 7 rounds. It's all he has left. But German infantry assault has stalled, without machine gun support. without covering fire they expected. They're pinned down by surviving American riflemen, taking casualties, not advancing. At 0624 hours, 2nd Battalion's assault boats hit beach. 600 fresh troops. Beachhead secured. Mickey sits against rubble. Twin Thompson across his lap. Empty. Smoking. He's fired approximately 410 rounds in engagement, 40 minutes of combat, maybe 90 seconds of actual trigger time. Morrison finds him. Kowalski, you just broke 2 German counterattacks. By yourself. Again. Mickey doesn't respond, stares at weapon, at his hands, at river where 5 boats sank with 60 men who didn't make it. How many did I kill? Morrison hesitates. Battalion estimates 30 to 40 enemy casualties during crossing and counterattacks, most attributed to suppressive fire from your position. 30 to 40 more, added to 25 from Hurtgen Forest. Mickey's personal count is now 55 to 65 in 5 weeks. Sir, I need to turn this weapon in. What? The Twin Thompson. I need to turn it in. Get a standard Thompson or a rifle. Anything else? Morrison studies Mickey's face, sees something there. This about what happened in the boat. You saved 70 men with suppressive fire. I killed 40 with the same fire. There's a difference between saving lives and taking them. This weapon makes me forget which I'm doing. Morrison sits down beside him. 38 years old, lawyer, man who understands moral complexity. Sergeant War doesn't give us clean choices. You use the tools you're given. You do the job. You come home. That's all any soldier can do. What if the tool makes the job too easy? What if I stop being a soldier and become just an efficient killer? You think the men whose lives you saved care about that distinction? Mickey looks at beach, at 73 survivors organizing defensive positions, at new arrivals setting up mortars, at boats going back for next wave. No, sir, I don't think they care, but I care, and I don't know how to live with not caring. Morrison stands, makes decision. I'm not taking your weapon, Kowalski. You're the best operator we have, but I'm ordering you to take 3 days rest. Battalion Aid Station. Talk to the psychiatrist, process this, then you come back and you make your own decision about whether you keep using it. Mickey nods. 3 days won't change anything. But orders are orders. He picks up Twin Thompson, carries it off beach. Behind him, Rhine crossing continues. More boats, more men, more casualties. Mathematics of war grinding forward regardless of individual moral struggles. 3 days later, Mickey returns to his unit. He's made his decision. He'll keep using the Twin Thompson, not because he's resolved the moral questions, but because 73 men are alive who would be dead without it. That mathematics, cold as it is all war offers. But he makes himself a promise. Every man he kills, he'll remember it's a man, not a target, not a statistic, a human being whose life ended because Mickey pulled a trigger. It's a small thing, probably meaningless in grand scheme. But it's the only way Mickey can think to keep his humanity while using a weapon designed to make killing mechanical. May 8, 1945. Germany surrenders. The war in Europe ends. Mickey Kowalski has used the Twin Thompson for 77 days. He's fired approximately 2,300 rounds in combat. Battalion intelligence estimates 93 enemy casualties attributed to his positions, 93 men, 93 families receiving telegrams. Mickey carries those 93 like he carried the 9 dog tags. Weight that doesn't decrease with time, only accumulates. May 10th, 1945. 2 days after surrender. Ordnance teams arrive with collection orders, all experimental weapons to be turned in for evaluation. Mickey's ordered to surrender Twin Thompson serial number T4837. He holds it one last time. 77 days. This weapon kept him alive, kept others alive. At cost of 93 enemy lives and pieces of Mickey's soul, he's not sure he'll ever recover. He hands it to Ordnance Corporal, watches it get logged, tagged, loaded onto truck with 46 other twin Thompsons collected from European theatre. Where's it going? Aberdeen Proving Ground, evaluation, then probably destruction or museum storage. Mickey nods. Tell whoever evaluates it something for me. What's that, Sergeant? Tell them it works exactly as designed, and that's the problem. The corporal doesn't understand. Mickey doesn't expect him to. You have to carry a weapon like that to understand what it costs to use it. 200 miles away in Liège, Raymond Watkins receives production halt order. Total twin Thompsons built 183. Total deployed 168. 15 remained in depot storage, never issued. Casualty reports indicate weapons saved an estimated 300 American lives through superior suppressive fire capability. Same reports estimate 400 to 500 enemy casualties directly attributed to twin Thompson employment. Mathematics work. Watkins should feel pride. Instead, he feels weight. June 15, 1945. Classification order arrives. All twin Thompson documentation classified restricted. Collection mandatory. Unauthorized retention prohibited. Watkins assigned to collection team. Travels to units. Recovers weapons. Finds that many have vanished. Soldiers kept them. Hidden in duffel bags. Buried in German fields. Shipped home illegally. Of 168 deployed weapons, only 47 are recovered. 121 missing. Watkins should report this, should demand full accountability. Instead, he logs them as combat losses, battle damage, destroyed during final German collapse. If soldiers want to keep weapons that saved their lives, who is Watkins to stop them? He built them for soldiers. Let soldiers decide their fate. November 1945. Mickey returns to Philadelphia. 26 years old. Looks 40. Takes job at his father's butcher shop. Marries Helen O'Connor, girl from neighborhood. Never discusses the war. The 9 dog tags stay in his drawer. He never wears them. Never throws them away. Just knows they're there. Some nights he dreams of twin Thompson. Dreams of continuous fire. Dreams of bodies falling, dreams of weight. He never tells Helen about weapon, never tells anyone. It's classified. And even if it wasn't, how do you explain that you carried a weapon that made killing so efficient you started forgetting the people you killed were people you don't? You carry it quietly, you work, you live, you try to be good husband and eventually good father. You light candles at St. Stanislaus. You go to confession, though you never mention the 93. You endure. Raymond Watkins returns to Hartford, returns to Colts Manufacturing, works until retirement, never discusses twin Thompson. Classification order prevents it until 1979. By then, Watkins is 76, suffering dementia, doesn't remember building weapon that changed close quarters combat. Maybe that's mercy. Maybe forgetting is the only way builders of efficient killing machines can find peace. 1979. The Army declassifies twin Thompson documentation. 34 years after war ended. Military historian finds Mickey's name in after-action reports. Contacts him. Mickey is 56. Owns his father's butcher shop. Has 3 grown children. Has never discussed the war. Mr. Kowalski, you used the T-48 twin Thompson in combat. Can you tell me about it? Mickey thinks for a long time. It was a monster to carry, monster to fire. But it kept me alive when nothing else would have. Do you know what happened to your weapon? Turned it in May 1945. Never saw it again. The Army only recovered 47 of 183 built, Most vanished. Do you know where they went? Mickey smiles. First time he's smiled talking about war. Soldiers kept them, hid them, couldn't bring themselves to turn in weapons that saved their lives. Can you blame them? Did you keep yours? Long pause. No, I turned mine in, but I understood the men who didn't. That weapon, it saved your life, but it cost you something too. Some men wanted to keep it, remember. Some men wanted to forget. I'm the second kind. The historian publishes his findings. Twin Thompson enters historical record. Small footnote. Interesting curiosity. Weapon that worked too well to mass produce. Tactical advantage that couldn't be scaled. Most of the 121 missing weapons stay missing. Hidden in barns, buried in fields, passed down through families. Some surface decades later at estate sales. FBI confiscates them. Military property, but some are never found. Still out there. Waiting. Carrying stories of men who used them. Men who built them. Men who struggled with what it means to make killing efficient. Mickey Kowalski dies in 2001. Age 79. Heart disease. Surrounded by family. He never tells them about Twin Thompson. Never explains 9 dog tags in his drawer. Some weights you carry alone. Raymond Watkins dies in 1981. Age 87. Dementia has taken most memories. But his wife Ellen finds a letter in his desk. Written in 1946. Never mailed. The letter explains everything. The weapon, the 4 teenagers, the weight of creation. The question of whether innovation that makes killing efficient is progress or damnation. Ellen burns the letter. Some truths are too heavy to share. Raymond carried it his whole life. Let him rest without that weight following him into whatever comes after. The Twin Thompson. 183 built, 47 recovered, 136 missing. Perhaps a dozen surface over decades. The rest remain hidden. Each weapon represents a story. Soldier who used it. Lives it saved. Lives it took. Weight it created. The Germans called it Doppeltod. Double death. The men who carried it called it salvation and burden. Both true. Both carried. Some innovations change warfare. Some innovations change the warriors. The Twin Thompson changed both. And in the end, that's what matters. Not technical specifications, not casualty ratios, not tactical advantages, but human cost of making killing efficient and the weight that efficiency places on souls of those who build such weapons and those who use them. That weight never appears in after-action reports, never shows up in procurement documents, never gets classified or declassified. It just exists, carried by men who understood that war's moral complexity can't be solved with better engineering, only endured. Mickey Kowalski and Raymond Watkins both learned that lesson, both carried it, both passed it on in only way they knew how. Through silence, through work, through living with knowledge that they'd made war more efficient and less human, and that mathematics of saved lives versus taken lives would never balance in any way that gave peace. The Twin Thompson worked exactly as designed, and that more than anything